welcome back to the astrology interview. Today I have Mary Parish with me. Now, Mary and I, where did we meet?
We met in class.
We met in class in our psychic development class. That's right, mediumship and psychic development class. And it was one of those weird sort of synchronistic moments because we hadn't really connected. But by goodness me, we certainly did when we discovered what each other did. So Mary is the founder of Celestial Pig, which is the most wonderful name for any business, which is really about, it's a kind of beautiful cosmic astrological travel service, but Mary will tell us more. So Mary, just let's start with why Celestial Pig and what does it do?
First, thank you for the opportunity to be able to speak about it. Celestial Pig is a name that brings joy, right? So I feel like if you're adding that energy into something that you are trying to make your life's work, you might as well get joy from it every time you see it and you hear it. When I was young, I loved Charlotte's Web. I loved anything that had to do with pigs. They represent abundance and prosperity and luck. So whenever I see my logo or whenever I hear it, it makes me giggle. And I think it's just really good energy. Yeah.
And it makes me laugh too. So it's such a fun name. So just tell us more about what Celestial Pig does, and so
Sure.
that people have got a really clear understanding of it.
Right. So Celestial Pig is mainly an astrological travel service. So using clients' natal chart information through astrocartography, we can determine where they would like to travel to based on a goal that they want to achieve. So it's not necessarily, oh, you should live on your sun line. It is most likely going to be, hey, I am writing a book. So let me go to my Mercury line and try to figure out exactly, 2 weeks in this area. How can I be inspired? How can the words just flow right out of me? So I am also a Fora travel advisor. So I'm able to do the astrocartography analysis for them as well as book their travel.
Why?
And
So you are that's what you do as well. You're a travel agent. I mean, what a perfect combination for this business.
Yes, completely. And separately, Celestial Pig also will be offering specific, like large astronomical or astrological event travel, like eclipse travel. So I'm going to be offering a retreat for the total solar eclipse that'll be happening in Spain next year, and the year after that. So it's
Wow.
really an exciting endeavor for me.
So how did you get into all of this? What drew you to it?
So my past is really, I feel like so many people, once they get some sort of spiritual awakening, they come from the complete opposite world into something that's brand new. So in my previous life, I'm an engineer. I'm a program manager in medical devices.
Well,
So in new product development for medical devices. So I used to travel all over the world. I used to manage projects, and I would be the person responsible for my team to manage all of this travel and really base it on their personality or what we needed. And it was just something that I loved doing. And then I got a spiritual awakening, and
how did you, Mary? How did you get the spiritual awakening? I'm always curious to know.
right. So a lot of spiritual awakenings often come from trauma, right? So I I had cervical herniated discs that I would get shots for, and in 2020, the doctor went too far and pierced my spinal cord, and I lost all feeling from the waist down. And I had to spend like 6 months going to physical therapy and just trying to like get feeling back, relearn that. And I also, at the same time, lost a very dear friend who was only 24 at the time, to liver cancer. And like those two things combined really turned my world upside down. And I got the awakening. I got someone coming in and telling me about angels, and it really resonated. And I just started doing all the research and all the reading, and took a different path. truly.
So when you say somebody, are you talking about a spirit or are you talking about an actual person?
I feel like it was an actual person who was meant to give me that message and really just open me up to another possibility. So I was raised Catholic, angels, right? But I never had thought that they really gave such an impact into, so many different facets of just our being. And they're like gods and goddesses in the way that they each represent a certain strength or a certain area. So I embrace that. It spoke to me. So yeah, a person just told me about it and then that was it.
And that was just like, oh, well, that's the journey for me. It's
Yes,
funny how it happens. It's almost like it's a kind of Uranus experience, isn't it? Like it's like,
100%.
oh my God, I see life differently. And you can't get back in the box after that.
Never, and it's almost like it's physically painful to
Yeah.
try to fit yourself back
Oh,
in that
yes.
box. Yes, yeah.
Absolutely. So after you got the awakening and you found the angels, what happened for you after that?
So after that, I started finding classes that were around my area. And there was this wonderful class that gave priestess, 3 year plus 3 year program to become a priestess. And through that, we learned every different facet of kind of metaphysical subject area, right? We learned about the wheel of the year. We learned about the, laws of nature, and it was really wonderful. So through that, and also my own independent study, it's something that I'm a continuous learner about, and it's fascinating.
I think the interesting thing is about when you actually are awake or you have been woken up, that's when the great learning starts, isn't it? I look at it as kind of like our magnus opus. It turns into our life's work. And it's how does the universe want you to express that life's work? And obviously, so tell us more about Celestial Pig and how you thought this up.
Okay, so I'm going to take you back
Yeah.
to how I got to Spain. So I live in Sevilla, Spain, but I'm from New York, and I live, an hour outside of the city in this nice little country town. And out of nowhere, I just became obsessed with the country of Spain. I don't know why. I just started researching it and started to learn Spanish, got a tutor, started traveling all around Spain because I decided that I was going to live here. And I spent time in Madrid, Barcelona, Valencia, like all over, right? Malaga. And from my Spanish tutor, he's like, you should try Seville. And I'm like, really? I was there for 4 hours in 2019. I know what Seville is. He's like, no, 4 hours isn't enough. Just go. So I booked it, and oh my God, I felt like it was just everything in me came alive. I knew this was my place. And then
Wow.
I booked another trip in another season, another trip in the summer to see if I could handle it because Seville is disgusting in the summer. And I could.
Yeah,
So, yes.
I lived in Seville for 9 months with 40 degrees. Yeah, it's hot, but but because you kind of get used to it, don't you? And you work with it. It isn't it, I
Yes.
never found it crippling.
Right. So you move your schedule around, and I spend time in the mornings out on my terrace and then inside in the air conditioning. So,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
it's really truly lovely. So I moved to Spain, but I had no idea why. So I knew I had to come here for some reason, but I didn't know. I rented my house out in New York. I changed my entire life, moved here about a year and a half ago, and then started taking Spanish classes for my visa. And in there, I met two other women who also were, unemployed, looking for a job, trying to figure out what their next move was. I'm like, we should start a business. And they're like, what? So we started just talking, and one of the ladies said that she always wanted a travel business, and I'm like, oh, like that's a really great idea. And then one day it just like boom, like another idea. I'm like, oh my God, astrological travel. because when I looked into astrocartography, I live right on my sun line. So I was like, that's why I feel like myself. That is why I
Yeah.
am my most vibrant, because that is where I'm supposed to be right now.
Do you
So I,
think it's a
yeah.
past life thing for you, or do you think this is just happens to be astrocartography, and it happens to be that you're just drawn to your sun sign, yeah, the astrocartography of your sun sign?
I've been trying to figure that out. And I think that there are, like, there's energy workers out there, right? And there's grid workers that are meant to live in separate areas of the world to, pump that energy up
Yeah,
and
yeah.
really try to bring in the healing. And I feel like that was the thing that resonated with me, because as soon as I moved here, I started attracting all these people who are into, tarot, who are into just any type of metaphysical like studies and astrology. And they were always a little too shy to talk about it, or it was something where I was able to be there and kind of guide them through their journey. So I truly believe it was meant to be there.
But why astrology? So tell me a bit more about how you got drawn into astrology.
So I'm always trying to figure out who I am and why people do things, right? So I've had through my life, before I decided on engineering, I had so many different like majors in college, right? One of them was neuroscience and psychology. And I was just always interested in why people do the things that they do, why I do the things that I do. And once I happened upon astrology from one of my best friends, I really looked deep into my natal chart and I'm like, explains me. And then looked into my mother and I'm like, okay, well, that's where that dynamic came from. And it allows me to have more patience and acceptance of people and understanding that we're all here in our individual journeys. So it was
Mm.
truly like a self exploration and an understanding of, why people are
Mm.
and why
Mm.
they move the way they do.
But you're not drawn to being an astrologer. You're
No.
more no, it's about helping people understand the most dynamic place that they can put themselves in.
Yes.
That's
Yeah,
a lovely
absolutely.
service.
Thank you. It's something that really resonates with me.
Yeah. So do you do astrocartography readings for people, or is it just tell me where you want what you want to do and we'll work out the best place for you?
So I believe that as part of the service of doing that, I will explain, some of the most beneficial planets and aspects of where they should be, living if they want to reach a certain goal or feel a certain way. But it isn't necessarily strictly an astrocartography reading. That's not
Yeah.
something that necessarily called to me. And there's so many
Yeah, yeah.
services out there who do it.
Absolutely, but it's this I love the package of it, like, if I was going to come to you and say, "Oh, I don't know, I want to write maybe I want to write a love story," then knowing a little bit about astrology, I would imagine Venus line would be good to that. You know?
Venus, if
Yeah,
there's any type of Venus Mercury
yeah,
cross or
yeah,
anything that's, in between the 2 lines, 100%, that
yeah,
would be a great
yeah,
place for you to go
yeah.
and write for a couple of weeks, or at
So
least get some inspiration.
if I wanted to set a business up, let's just say that, I mean, you found your sun sign happens to be where you live. It's really interesting. Just a very quick byline. I've always tried to live abroad and I've never been able to until I saw my astrocartography, and my moon sign, home, runs right through where I live. This is home. It's real. I've
That
tried
is
so much to live abroad, never happened. And that's typical, isn't it? So let's just say if you wanted to, I don't know, think up a business or start a business, or you didn't feel you were very abundant where you were living. Tell me about where would you look at in the astrocartography chart?
So, one, I think that living on your sun line is actually very beneficial for business or any type of enterprise that you want to do, but also bringing in your Jupiter line for prosperity, abundance, things like that. If you want to buckle down and get your business started, maybe playing a little bit with Saturn, maybe not living there, but
Yeah,
ensuring that you get your stuff done. Any
yes.
major, goals or milestones that you want to complete, I think the Saturn line would be great for that.
I think, Saturn gets such a bad rap in astrology, doesn't poor old Saturn. And we need Saturn for the stability, the longevity, I'm gonna really work with this. But also, if you're living on a Saturn line, it can be very hard work, can't it? And it can be very karmic, sort of uncomfortably so. So what do you say about that?
So I say it's a place to visit, not
Yes.
necessarily a place to live. Um, for me, I know so I have a lot of like Saturn aspects. I truly appreciate Saturn in a way that I know I have to get stuff done. I'm late diagnosed ADHD, so any type of Saturn influence I could get really helps. But I don't think I could live there because it is truly it's a bit of a heavier energy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what do you say about Pluto? Because that's always got a bad rap. Oh, if I go there, I'm going to die. That doesn't
No,
necessarily mean that, but perhaps
no,
some transformation on a deep level might take place.
for
What do you
sure.
say about that?
So shadow work, any type of thing that you want to work through, understanding your boundaries and how to set them in a way that sets you up for success, I think is a great way to work with your Pluto line.
Oh, that's interesting. Setting you up for success. Tell me a bit more about that.
So truly, where my Pluto is or where other people's Plutos are, I think it highlights where they need to also have boundaries. And those, if you don't have those boundaries, if you're just kind of out there all willy nilly, I think that you are hampered with your ability to be as successful as you can be. That's just what I have found. And
Yeah.
by success, I don't necessarily mean like business wise or anything like that. I mean truly just being your best self.
Yes. Yes, that's an interesting one, isn't it? This concept of I call it the most authentic you can be. I think that's what Pluto asks you to become, doesn't it? So if you're on the journey and you're going, I don't know who I am, would you send them to their Pluto line?
It depends on what their personal chart says. So I think it really is dependent on the individual, and potentially what they're lacking in their chart. So if they don't know who they are and maybe they don't have a lot of water, but they need to figure out their emotions, I would send them based on what their chart is, to a line that would help with that. So it would.
What line would you? I mean, it's a difficult one, without looking at the chart, obviously. But
For
if you
sure.
know water in your chart, for example, what's the best line that you can look for?
So, I mean, to your point, the Pluto line, right? So, Pluto rules Scorpio. It
Yeah,
is your
yeah,
internal self. It
yeah,
is water for sure.
yeah,
So to your point, I think that would actually be a great place to
yeah. And it's
start.
if you have no air in your chart, I would imagine that you'd send them more something to lift them up or put them on
Yes.
top of a mountain or something like that.
Absolutely.
Draw
Yes.
the picture.
So, something like Venus, right? So Libra, Venus rules Libra. That would be something that lifts them up and helps them find more balance,
Yeah.
in order to help them in that area.
Because I think it is astrology for me, it's absolutely how do I find balance? Because astrology is all about the axes of the opposites. And I think where we grow and where we find ease in our life is where we draw in the extremes and we learn through good old Saturn, you've got to do the homework here. You're out of balance. So how do you, what do you need to become more in balance? And I love the fact that you can use the planet itself, not just your internal life, physically to go and do that.
Absolutely. Yes, I love that as well. And balance is super important. Um, I think that just if you have balance in your life, you're moving in a way that is just, I don't know, it's resonant with who you are. It's
Yeah.
just something that's super important.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Now, the other thing I'm really interested in what you do is that you're providing a- astrological trips and retreats for the eclipse next year. So tell us more about that. I'm so tempted to sign up.
So the here's the other thing when I didn't know why I moved to Spain and also why I'm starting a travel company. The next two total solar eclipses are in Spain. And I didn't know that. So I am offering two types of travel, right? So one of them is for those people who want to have more control over where they want to be, maybe go to a different city in their totality. I'm able to book those trips for them through Fora, but also offer them like eclipse glasses and a reading or something like a chart of how to work with the energy specifically of this eclipse for those people. And then I am also hosting a retreat in Ibiza that is in the line of totality that will be dependent on the people who sign up. It will be very personalized to them, but it's going to be over the peak of the Lionsgate portal of 8/8,
Oh,
where we can
wow.
actually, you know, have our intentions that we want to do and use for
Yeah.
the eclipse, which is in Leo.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a very powerful retreat. Ibiza has, you know, they have a goddess, the Phoenician goddess Tanit, who is all about like fertility and birthing and even, abundance as well. So I want to make sure that we honor, her while we're there and also honor what everybody needs.
Yes, I think these eclipses are becoming really prevalent now, aren't they? And with what's happening in the world, I think we have to pay a lot of attention to the potency of what they're showing us. And a Leo is all about me, I am, how I shine my light. And the Lionsgate is, well, as we know, especially from 2020, 2000, it's been very much wrapped up now in our experience of August. And I think it's very important because it also aligns with Sirius. And I find that fascinating is bringing in the fixed stars as well. It isn't
Yeah,
just the planets, it's the cosmos bringing the cosmos into our world.
for sure. Yes,
Yeah,
very important, very potent. It's the time of abundance and harvest from like Lunasa being the beginning to this eclipse energy it's gonna be super powerful.
yeah,
So I think that it's in our benefit, especially in this world right now,
yeah,
to try to see how we can best utilize our internal power
yeah.
to make the world a little bit better.
Yeah, yes. I mean, it's so chaotic now, and the big shift is happening next year when all the outer planets settle into air and fire signs. I mean, that we're having tastes of what it's all about at the moment, but I think when they settle finally, I think that's when that huge whatever it is going to set off at 1,000 miles, and that's walk back to 5, isn't it? Or no, walk factor 8. More like. I just had an image there of Star Trek.
It's so yeah, it's so true. The end of February, that, alignment of Uranus and Neptune,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Is that
yeah, yeah.
yes? So that also we have eclipses in February. We also have Imbolc, which is, the beginning of February
Mm.
that I bel what I use it as is setting my intentions, planting my seeds so that they can actually see how they've grown and
Yeah.
manifest by Lionsgate, by
Yeah.
Lunasa, by that time. So I think February is going to be a super important time for us to, regardless of what's going on around us, really try to maintain our center and be
Yeah.
personal focused. Yeah,
Yeah. And a lot more people are waking up now, aren't they, to hang on a second, what have we been conditioned with? And I think what's
completely.
happening here, what I love about what you're doing is using the planet or incorporating the wisdom of the planet into astrology. And that's what our astrocartography does. So, is there anything else that you'd like to say about Celestial Pig or your vision perhaps for Celestial Pig?
Okay. So, Celestial Pig is kind of the, one-stop shop for anything that you may need, metaphysically speaking. I also happen to be like a kitchen witch. So there's things for, magical recipes there. We'll be utilizing the ingredients that are, indigenous to Ibiza during the retreat and all of the magical properties there, and readings, just like we go to class. So it really is a one-stop shop, but especially letting people utilize the power of the planets and this earth that we chose to be on in order to be our best selves. And, the world is kind of going through the death rattle of, the last, uh, I don't know, the late stage capitalism, whatever it may be, dying out for something that is going to be new and beautiful. And if we can utilize these energies to do that and help that progression along, I think it's super important. So I'm
Yeah.
just really excited.
So I'll put all your information below this video. And for anyone who's watching, please do leave us a comment and give us a like if you've liked what you've heard. And I really hope that you get in touch with Mary because I think it's going to be an education on lots and lots of different levels. So, Mary, a huge thank you. I'm just now going to go straight back to my astrocartography chart and have another. Where I don't know where my sun line is, but I'll find it. Anyway, thank you so much. And yeah, we'll catch up with you later in the year to see how things are going, especially around the eclipse a workshop that you're planning on running. So for
Perfect.
now,
Thank you so much. Thank you for this
oh, it's been
opportunity. This is lovely.
absolute
Thank you.
pleasure. Thanks a lot. Bye
Thanks.
for
Take
now.
care. Bye.